I'm your host, Ebenezer Oyetake, and I have two gentlemen in the house this morning. We're going to be taking a look at political aspirants and the question of conflicts of interests. We're having Olayode Abdurazak Oluwole, a socio-political commentator, public relations expert. You're welcome to our studio.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Abdurazak,
Yes, sir.
what would nationalism and you means to you?
Nationalism and you.
And you, yes.
So you are nationalism and nationalism is you. So it means that you, because there is no nationalism without you.
Okay.
Automatically you are nationalism. So it is what you portray that tells us what nationalism itself means.
All right. And with him this morning is Barrister Abubakar Tenimu. You're welcome to our studio.
Thank you for having me.
Nationalism and you?
I look at it from the angle of being patriotic, what you give into the country to make the country a better place for all of us.
Very well. That is it. Being patriotic, being loyal, being devoted to the country. Political aspirants. We have deluge of them this time around. I don't think we have ever had these numbers of presidential aspirants in Nigeria nation since our democratic experiments and history. So what does that portend to the nation? What is the implications of this deluge? Yes, Abdurazak.
Well, it has both the positive side and the negative side.
Okay.
And this is because we cannot extray the mind of those people that are coming out. So because you cannot extray it, you will not be able to know what is it that they are bringing to the table and why are they even coming out. Because if you look at those aspirants, one way or the other, in so many fora, most of them have said they are not coming out for presidents or for politics anymore. But today you just see them coming out again. Then you now ask the question, what has really changed? What has really changed? So the way it's coming is new, as you said, and everybody is just looking at the, political scientists are looking at what is really in this that everybody is coming out. Nobody can say exactly this is why they are coming out like this.
For me, it portends a good omen for us in the sense that our democracy is thriving and a lot of participation gives room for choice. And democracy, apart from being a government of the people, by the people, for the people, we have to have a representation, and it's due to active participation of the large multitude. But if you look at it from another angle, in the last 6 to 5 years, the quest of governance has been reduced. In terms of what are the credibility, what has the government achieved, those in leadership position, they've made the trust. I want to look at it that they've betrayed the trust of most Nigerians. They've reduced governance. Some see it as a joke because and that's why the political parties are now putting in measures by increasing the cost of expression of interest and participation, because already governance has been reduced to an abysmal level in terms of non-performance, in terms of lackadaisical attitude towards what is happening. Today we have killings going on. Kidnapping is now a norm. Nowhere is safe. People are being kidnapped at home. People are being kidnapped in the hospitals. People have been kidnapped on the train, which we thought is the safest means. I'm from Kaduna. I cannot go home anymore. I stay, and you just pray anytime you are traveling. If there's any wedding event coming up, it's not, before now, it's armed robbers we are scared of, maybe bad road accidents and but now everybody is scared of being kidnapped. And this is the price of bad governance. And now you see everybody now have the belief that it cannot get worse than what we already have. So you see every charlatan, people that ordinarily they have no business being in government, now aspiring to exalted position, which ordinarily should be a very serious thing that all Nigerians should not take for granted. In other clime, the situation that every country faces determine the type of leadership they should put forward. We are looking for leaders that will revamp the economy. We are looking for leaders that will give Nigerian security. We are looking for leaders that will be able to change the narrative. So now, because governance has been reduced to an abysmal level, that's why everybody, every Dictor Mahari can come. And the next thing that is in the political palace now is, when are you declaring? When are you buying your form? Everybody, look at the number of aspirants. What do they have to offer? Some of them are part and parcel of the situation that brought us where we are today. And so what are they coming to do any differently? If you have a CBN governor that is supposed to...
Before we go there, let us look at it this way. Many people will disagree with you that it is because governance is reduced, that is why they are coming out. Many people might think that it is because of the enormity of these challenges confronting the nation that is inspiring them to say, let me come and see if I can do it differently. Have you looked at it from that perspective?
You ask?
Yes.
Yeah, can you come again?
Now, he is talking about them coming out because governance has been reduced. And I am saying many people will refuse to agree with him because people might think that the reason why we have preponderance of people coming out today is informed by the multifaceted challenges that we are having, the security, the economy, and all of that, that maybe they are being inspired that we can do it differently. And that is why we have this deluge of numbers.
Yeah, like you can see the way I put it the other time. I said it has the positive and the negative aspect. And there are people, part of the aspirants, that are coming out basically because of that passion, because of that sincerity. And there are some of them that, in fact, some that you see, if I mention, I've looked at them again, I see that this person has declared intention. I've not seen that person even on the television to talk. That person has just collected form, submitted form, and just go and sit down. So there are a lot of them like that. So what will you say about somebody that just go back and sit down?
Without telling people why he's coming?
He has not been campaigning. He has not been going any. In fact, when I saw the list, I saw somebody say, this person declared. We never saw him anywhere. You understand? So these are reasons why we can now say, what are other people coming out for?
My brother said that the reason why they raised the banner of cost of nomination to 100 is to deter the jigs and harries and the rest of it from coming out. But it appears that the mentality of Nigerians is the higher the price, the better the stake, and that kind of a thing. No. Don't you think if the price is even 500 million, people would have still come out the more?
Absolutely. We've had instances, or we've had, unconfirmed though, people spending up to 2 billion to become ministers, and so if they are spending, some see it as a way of securing their future in the next dispensation. By buying form, they've declared that, okay, they've made substantial contribution. So when the elephant is dead and they are sharing, they will naturally look for those.
But this outpouring justifies the more the merrier?
No, definitely it doesn't. In fact, you see, sometimes that's why we say sometimes the crowd is foolish. And this is why it is becoming a little bit delicate and difficult to equally choose the leader now. Because most of them have come out. Somebody has been supporting this before, and another person came out and said, I think I will support this now. So even who to support is even becoming cumbersome for us.
A Nigerian politically educated, sensitive, and diligent enough to be able to pick out that man, that particular man that can resolutely solve our problem among these lots? Do we have such a strong political education among our people?
We don't. We don't because ordinarily it's not about education. It's about the sentiments of most Nigerians. We've over the years celebrated and cherished, and we've taken tribalism and bigotry to a highest of all levels, that most people are not looking at what the aspirants have to offer. Rather, they look at where they come from and what religion they belong to, what tribe they belong. If you look at the things that are taking most of the space in the political balance over the last month is about zoning, is about which state, is about, in fact, the two major political parties at the moment, they are in a dilemma in the sense that they are waiting for each other to know where the party, where their aspirants will come from, where their candidate will come from eventually, not because of the quality and the pedigree of what they have to offer, but because they want to now suit the narrative of Nigerians in terms of the bigotry aspect, the religious aspect, the sentiment that goes with it. Ordinarily, if we are talking about issue-based politics, those aspiring by now, they should have come out with a Marshall Plan of what they seek to do differently. But the answer is, if you look at those that are likely to win, some of them are governors, some of them have been vice president before now, some of them are part and parcel of the situation that brought us where we are. So what are they coming to do differently if they had had opportunities in the past? Some have actually been the ones that have brought us in the mess that we are.
One of the issues that is actually agitating the political discourse today is former President Goodluck Jonathan. Some people say we bought form for you. Some people say some political elite are drafting him to please move to APC, buy the form, and because you will only serve for 4 years and the rest of it, then the power will revert. Are those supposed to be a consideration in a nation that is facing a multifaceted challenges that are threatening the national sovereignty? Is political tenure supposed to be, or political opportunism and lasciviousness supposed to be consideration rather than who should come to do things differently, pragmatically, and result-oriented?
Now, you see, most of those problems now, you can see, the way you now mentioned it, it is people. That's why some of us want to say, okay, our problem is not really leadership. Sometimes you see that this is the followership. It is people that will come together, group themselves, give themselves a name, and say, oh, we want so, 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 and so to go. And they start clamoring for this person one way or the other with the political...
Maybe there are big political masquerades somewhere instigating
them again. That's another thing. So it's two ways. So, instigating who? The followers. And the followers that allow themselves to be instigated, they now become that prey for what was going to happen next time. You see, when he was talking about the... you asked the question about, are Nigerians educated enough and things like this. You see, one thing is this. When I look at these aspirants as they are coming out, and I'm looking at 2023 election, I said we have a problem which we have not tackled yet. And when we are looking at we that we're going to vote, it's a different case. It is this person that the political party give us that we're going to vote for. Did you get this? Mm-hmm. It is who political party presents that we're going to vote for. Now, let's now look at how they present candidates to us. How the delegates are being presented to us is another issue that we need to look at very well. And this issue of who they are going to present to us is, for instance, now, the delegates of each party has it in their hand what they are going to give to Nigerians. You understand? And that is where our problem comes from. When we now look at what are the delegates, who are the delegates, how qualified are the delegates to also give the whole Nigerians a particular aspirant or a particular candidate to be voted for. If they don't give me who I wanted, I will surely vote. That's what it is. So the education is a different thing, but the party bringing out a quality candidate, a qualified candidate, a candidate that can really change it. So it now has to do with the delegates.
Now let us talk about the real issue, conflicts of interest. Somebody said they are waiting for Femi Adesina and Garba Shehu to pick presidential form in order to underscore the degrees of political aspiration participation by people holding offices, appointees of the president, members of executive council. I think it is unprecedented in the history of the nation that from that climb, a lot of people, to the extent that a central bank governor is involved. What is your take on this?
My take is, we look at it from the factors that are militating against performance if you hold a public office. And conflict of interest happens to be one of the most important, that if you are in your oath of office, in your job function, emphasis in both establishment laws establishing government agencies and the civil service rule, emphasis have been placed on you should avoid things that will not allow you to be able to be independent, to be able to dispense your job without fear or favor. And in what we are seeing now, in fact, it's so worrisome to the extent that the CBN governor, he was kind of trying to use the court to now test the waters by going to court, and we're happy that the court outrightly rejected that position. You cannot be a CBN governor, and the economy is not even doing well, and you now want to, without resigning from your position, want to now actively participate in politics. So this is a recipe for disaster, and the whole marking of conflict, the crash of conflict of interest is widely depicted. How will the CBN governor, being a member of the APC, he will receive directive from the chairman of APC? He will be under the control of the delegate and the bigwigs and the juggernauts in the political in that same party, and they will now have right to now dictate the pace of things that happen in our economy by controlling him and affecting decision that relates to the CBN. We should not allow that to be, and I'm happy the president has taken stand by directing some of his appointees to resign. If they will comply is another thing. From what I heard, the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, has resigned. We are waiting to see if all others will resign. And if you look at it in another angle, the positive side, how did they get those monies? And 100 million is quite a substantial amount of money. And if some large number of people in government are bringing out those monies, I think our security agencies should now start following the money trail. How did they get these monies? And let's let the conflict of interest is something that is already palpable. The other aspect now is, where did they get those monies from, and have they given account? What are their performances in their various ministry? How can a Minister of State for Education be coming out to be the president when ASU is on strike? How can the Minister of Labor be coming out for the presidency when Labor is in strike? So what you see, that I said, we are not really talking about issue-based politics, whereby you look at the pedigree of the individuals concerned. What have they done that they think is enough to pivot them into aspiring for
the Minister
higher
of Education? You know, there is nothing wrong in Minister of Education aspiring to become a president. And also, he demonstrated character among them all because he resigned even before the president talked about it. Yes, he resigned. And the Minister of State, he resigned. Maybe he had looked into it and found out that there is a gap between the negotiation, perennial strike, and the rest of it, and he has discovered something that he can do being a president, but he cannot do being a minister. That's why he's coming. That being that, Comrade Olayode Abdurazak Oluwole, where is the place of morality vis-a-vis conflicts of interest that we have seen paramountly demonstrated by political aspirants that are government officials?
Yeah, there are so many. There are so many. You see, the landscape of Nigerian politics is so porous that you can come in and say anything, or you can come out and do anything. And when you do, because maybe one way or the other, because you are being protected in that position, then you think you can just come out and say whatever you want to say. Now, when you look at morality, morally, there are some times when some of them come, because I don't really want to be mentioning names, but you know, some of them will come out, and even the way they spoke to their contingent, the way they spoke to Nigerians, the way they even want to warn Nigerians, you see that morally there is a decline in the way they talk to us. So somebody will just come and talk, somebody can just say, it is just me, it is me, I can do it, I can do it. Morally, it's not justified. It's not justified. So when you now look at interest, that was exactly what I said the other time. There are so many ways in which we can see this conflict of interest, definitely. Because you now see, is it the case that you love the country? Is it the case that you have this ambition? Because sometimes we really want to clash ambition. If you have ambition, somebody cannot come on here and say, I've seen the way things are, now I can do it. You must have had intention, not before now. That's another issue. The last one I want to talk about is when you now see, again, a presidential aspirant being interviewed, and they are asking presidential aspirant questions on various areas, education, security, and this aspirant is giving you answers. It baffles me. The question I ask is, do you really know everything? Is it everything that you think you can do? I will expect aspirants, when they ask you about security, oh, this area you're not vast in it, okay, I will hire this, I will hire that to do this for us. And when I hire good hands, I will listen to them and I will take decision. So presidency or position like that is a position of decision making. So your own is to get information, get content, and display your decisions. But when you now come on here and start telling us you master of all,
jack of all the trades,
you can see. So this is where there are no interest. You just look at what is this one saying, and morally it's not justified.
Barrister Abubakar Tenimu, Central Bank has been our fortress for security in the areas of keeping sensitive materials of INEC. Because some of those sensitive materials in countries, in advanced countries like Canada and the rest of it, there is no noise about sensitive material. You can even collect it, you that want to go and do the vote, you can collect it this evening and move quietly to your house. And people knew you move with it to your house, nobody come and boggle you.
Absolutely.
But we have to have a fortress of the network of central bank down to the state in order to preserve our own because of our peculiar nature. And now that the central bank governor is running and he is the chief custodian of sensitive materials, conflict of interest, where do we go from there?
You look at it, the position of being a CBN governor is an exalted position. You have a fiduciary relationship with all Nigerians. And
please, you being a lawyer, sorry,
and a former banker,
and a former banker, please speak to the heart of law when it regards to as regards to the CBN Act, because the word it uses is that a sitting CBN governor must not be involved in another trade. And politics is a trade.
Absolutely.
A very big and consuming one.
And it equally has the civil service rule. There are so many other rules that guides that position. I see it as a betrayal of trust, because the CBN governor has a fiduciary relationship to Nigerians. It even goes beyond his appointment. His appointment is protected so that he can take informed decision. Without economy, the country will just collapse. And already we've seen what the economy can do to a country. Dollar, we know the exchange rate. Inflation has been consistent for the past 6 years. It has been going up. Things are terribly bad. People are languishing in the living condition at the moment. It's nothing to write home about.
We will return to that. Let us please proceed on an advert break. We will be back. You're welcome back from that brief commercial break. And we are still having our guest in the house. To my far right, Barrister Abubakar Tenimu, and to my immediate right, Comrade Olayode Abdurazak Oluwole. Yes, we are on conflict of interest. Now that the central bank governor is running the CBN Act, the Civil Service Act, and the even amended, Electoral Act, 2021 Electoral Act. And so, with all of that, where are we? Who keeps our sensitive material?
For now, as I said, the expectation ordinarily in order, if we had been in an advanced climb, the CBN governor would have been fired. But the intendment for appointment to the office of the CBN governor, the law actually envisage a situation where the office will be protected, so that you have an independent-minded official that will be able to now protect and manage the economy of the country. What the CBN governor has done, he has betrayed that trust, that fiduciary relationship. He's not only having, he's not supposed to like be responsible to those that appointed him, that's the president himself, or the various process, but to the entire Nigeria. And in the context that he ought to protect the economy. So if he's coming into politics, and that would jeopardize anything, because you see the economy, the way it operates is that it works based on perception. So if you are an investor and now you are coming to Nigeria to come and invest, and you now discover that the CBN governor that is supposed to like control the economy in a way is now actively involved in partisan, you will not want to invest in the country. If some bankers, chief executives of bankers, they equally belong to political parties. So if you now, maybe you are in the opposition, you are in the PDP, and you by chance you are the chief executive of a bank, CBN have so many rules, so many policies, and they can implement policy at any time from time to time. So you can be a governor that you are in a different political party. You can use that as a means to win hunt and exhibit some vindictive tendencies. Nigerians, a lot of Nigerians are appalled, and it speaks to the narrative that governance has been reduced to an abysmal level. That is why all this, because we've never seen it before, and the reaction to things that are ordinarily out of, if he has any moral conscience in him, he ought to have even resigned for no one making the mistake to even attempting to declare, and the outcry of Nigerians to that particular action. But in Nigeria now, everything goes. Nobody seems to care.
Comrade Olayode, now let us take a deeper look at this. Late Prince Tony Momo said when he was appointed as a minister, as soon as he got back home with the official car, and I have heard that narrative from even some elder statesmen in the north, and Tanko Yakasai and all of them, that same narrative. And till around that time, Tony Momo told me, I said, if I got back home with the official car, I no longer go anywhere with it. I dropped it. I will be using my personal car. My official car cannot take my wife to the market, and that kind of a thing. And that, that speaks to ethics, norms, morality, and good conscience. Now it appears that we have run ultra bias against all of those norms, ethics, as if there are no more principles that should guide a society, vis-a-vis conflict of interest, political aspirants that are official, that refuse to, they need to wait for Mr. President to come and order them to do the right thing. Your take on this, please.
Thank you. You see, the way I like analyzing our country, most times I like putting it to the people. I know quite well there's an adage in my place that says that if you hold position of responsibility, definitely even your immediate family will also be part of those people that will be checkmating you. The community will be checkmating you. But today, what we see is that the community itself influences those things to happen. And I will explain. You see, one way or the other, if I happen to hold a political office, and after my tenure, I just came back home. Maybe I don't have a car, I didn't build a house, and people will just look at me and say, what is happening? Look at this guy, he went to this and he came back, he didn't even have anything. No, you are not serious, you are not this. It is the people. It is what the people will say. In fact, what the people will say is also what is affecting our community today, our environment, our country today. It is the people. You understand what I'm trying to say now? So it is what the people will now say. People will abuse you if you go to such position and come back. Yesterday they won't. Yesterday they will support you. Yesterday they will checkmate you. But today they will be the one to abuse you. So when you now come back and you now see a former minister walking on the road, he doesn't have a car, and nobody will say, that's a former minister. He doesn't even have a car. And then that voice of the people that are negating that principle that is ought to have been, he started looking at himself. Even part of his family that has said they will be checkmating him before, these days they will not checkmate you. They will equally be part of those people that will be abusing you. They will tell you that, do you want to be poor in the rest of your life? This is what people will put in the head of the government or in the head of the politicians. And when they put it in the head of the politicians, they don't do it like this. No, this is not how this thing has been done. This is how they are doing it. Like, for instance, a government official will say, I've spent this money, this budget, this is the amount that is remaining, I want to take it back to the treasury. They do that before. But today they don't do that. People will still come and say, okay, they don't do that. Look, if you do this, this was good, but why not take it and
evacuate it through any means?
You know what I mean? So that is why people that are morally justified, people that have this ethical belief inside them, people that have values cannot come into the realm of politics. When they come, they will soil their hand. Most of them have come and say, oh, I will come and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Before you know, they will soil their hands. And soiling their hand is that people in that politics that will tell them that it is not done this way. So if you are trying to do it this way, they will find a way to take you out of it. They will find a way to take you out of it.
Now, let us take it further. The CBN governor office is a very strategic and important office to Nigerian economy and to the confidence of international community on the climate of investment. Proceeding from there, another very important office in that climb is the office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. Now, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, many Nigerians said, he is more grossly involved in this issue of conflict of interest than any other official in this particular system. And furthermore, that two foundations or thereabout donated 30 cars to his campaign team that wants to go for governor and that kind of a thing. Whereas the civil service ethics and the public service ethics and the rest of it frown at political office holders taking gifts, receiving gifts and that kind of a thing from anybody for that matter. As a lawyer yourself, where is the place of morality and how do you place this within the scope of conflict of interest?
My expectation by now is that the president should have fired him, as in he shouldn't be part of the executive council, because he has already indicated his interest. He has been on campaign. We've seen videos of him in various rallies and the rest. The office of the Attorney General of the Federation in Nigeria is, if you look at it, is even merged with that of the Minister of Justice. So ordinarily, he's supposed to be a person that represents the government, represents the people, represents the country. He has that fiduciary responsibility. His stake, as you rightly pointed out, is higher than even that of the CBN. So as I said, my expectation at this moment is that by now, it's not Rotimi Amici that should have resigned, since he felt he can eat his cake and have it. The president should have done the honorable thing of sacking him, and that would send a very strong signal. He has enormous power. I think, apart from the president, there's no other person that has.
Don't you think the president is being over democratic? Because somebody said that if I were the president, while they are in Lagos campaigning, bidding the governor to support us for the content that is coming and abdicated the duty of officialdom and the rest of it, they ought to have heard their name on radio being relieved and that kind of a thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you look at it, the appointment of ministers is at the absolute discretion of the president. He has the power to hire and fire for no reason, for good reason, without any justification. If that has not been done, it speaks to what we have been saying, that governance has been reduced to an abysmal level, that everything goes, and that is why those appointees can now twist the hands of the president. Some of them who instigate court action whereby they are the same litigants, and at the same time they are the same complainants. So in any way, the hands of the judges are tied, because the two parties are working in concert. Any judgment you are giving, the evidences, the affidavits, the counter and everything that needs to be presented will not be presented. And we are happy that the judgment obtained in Umahia has been overturned at the Court of Appeal, and we pray that the Supreme Court will do a holistic thing so that a strong warning will be sent, a good precedent will be sent, and we should not even wait for the court to write what has been done. We know what has been done is wrong, and it's for the president that has the mandate to do it in an expeditious
Comrade Olayode,
Yes, sir.
one of the reigning things among these political aspirants is that the 100 million, the CBN governor, people contributed it for him. They bought it for him, and many others like that. And former President Obasanjo said, anyone who comes to tell you that it is people that bought my listing, don't vote for them. They have started with on the footnote of fraud. Your take on this?
Thank you. Before I go there, let me answer.
Please.
Let me answer what he just talked about. That of Malami and
okay, all right.
Yeah.
Take it together.
Yeah. If you look at the political, what they call it, the Plateau Republic. The Plateau Republic talks a little bit about the philosopher king, and in the process of philosopher king scenario, he's saying that the political terrain or the world or the country terrain is a similitude of a football field. A football field whereby we have spectators and we have the real player of the game. So if you are a spectator, you can't come into the field and play. And if you're a player, you also be on the pitch, not going to be a spectator. Now, what we are saying in Nigeria is that people that are supposed to be spectators are now becoming real player of the game. So Plato Republic is saying that the philosopher king is supposed to be the king, and everybody is supposed to take responsibility of the position that you are. Don't leave that position and say you want to not become this, you want to not become this. I think our law is
and
supposed
if you
to
want to leave the position, do it with honor
and principle. So it means that, see, we should also know like this now, that if you are going to this line of your career, hardly before you can change. If you are not a politician and you are coming like this, or if you have not become a lawyer and you have started going to court and doing this, you can't change this this terrain. Like for instance, in civil service, we know quite well that if you come as maybe when you go to polytechnic, there's a certain position that you not get to because of your line of career. That should also be in other places too.
No, very well, very understandably.
Yeah.
Quickly, because we're rounding up. Now, why is it that it is those who are in strategic positions, CBN governor, what do you call it, attorney general, and every other person that are in strategic government position, that people are contributing to buy their form for them?
The answer is very simple. They control strategic and juicy position. They have given and influenced a lot of contracts, and let's assume there's nothing going on behind the corner. So for people that have benefited, they want to show appreciation if in real sense they are not the one actually giving them those monies to come and buy those forms for them. Because I don't believe that Nigerians, with what we are facing, any right thinking Nigeria will want to contribute money. They should do the way we do in other climes. Let the money track, let people investigate the source of money. Nobody is talking about investigating source of
if you have one word to the nation regarding conflict of interest and what we have seen the political aspirant doing, what will it be?
My word is that if there is conflict of interest, we cannot really get anything done properly.
Please.
I just think our law should be straight and explicit. With that, we will not have conflict of interest.
Let's enforce our law. Let us behave to ethics, norms, and let us understand that politics without principle, as Mahatma Gandhi said, destroys a nation. Let our leaders practice politics with principle and have the sense of right and wrong. And that is how a nation can be well built. It's been wonderful talking to two of you. And we hope that when we have the opportunity to beckon on you, you will make yourself available to us.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure.
So that is how we roll up on this first segment. The second segment is coming in immediately. Don't change the channel.